All right, well, he's back on camera with us to celebrate a major occasion today. Team USA has brought home the gold in men's hockey for the first time in 46 years. And we had to do an instant reaction with the one and only Lou Terminello. And guess who else joined us? Also in Team USA gear, Pags Perspective. Boys, we did it. We brought home the gold.
Alex, Ryan, it was an exciting day. I was tense the entire game, like one of my teams was playing in the seventh game of a championship series, a World Series. That's how exciting the game was. These two teams put their guts out. They put their guts out on the line. It was a wonderful hockey. It was a wonderful hockey game, and Connor Hellebuck was a tremendous player. Obviously, his goaltending today was a difference as the Canadians kept pushing, especially in the second period. But kudos to Jack Hughes. And on that winning goal, everybody's going to say, the pass from Orensky, which was tremendous, obviously, to get to him. But if you roll back the tape, just 20 seconds, McDavid was coming in on his backhand, and Jack Hughes rode him off the puck. And then we started the other way for the United States, which ended up being about 20 seconds later, the winning goal. But great day for the United States. I'm very, very pleased. They played great. And you saw how great the hockey was in the medal rounds. Not so much the round robin, in the medal rounds. And I wonder if they're going to change the format moving forward. I don't know. But
Well,
that was my quick take on it.
Mike Sullivan, and you made this point, put in the best coaching decision, which was Hellebuck. I mean, he changed that real quick after the prelims, and look where we are today, gold medal winners. And also, I want to make this note, then Ryan, you can jump in also. Hey, if today didn't show Chris Jury what happens when Mike Sullivan has a team, I don't know what will. I mean, he's our coach here in New York. Give him some people to work with, damn it.
Well, that's exactly what happens in Pittsburgh with him. I mean, we saw it all throughout his Pittsburgh Penguins tenure. Sully bringing up all those boys from Wilkes-Barre for that 2016 Cup run. I mean, he got back-to-back Cups out of that team. And look, you could say what you want in the end about the Pens not really blowing it up when they arguably probably should have after 2020, maybe after 2021, and definitely after 2022. You could say what you want about all that, but the man has proved that he can win with talent. That's exactly why he came to the Rangers, and I'm sure that's probably why he signed up to coach Team USA in the first place. I mean, all the talent that he had at his disposal, probably the deepest U.S. team we have ever seen. And they got it.
I would agree. I would agree, Ryan. I would agree.
And let me tell you, I even think they're improved from last year's Four Nations Cup. I mean, what a difference, as you're saying, Quinn Hughes made, but they just made a whole, all around, just felt deeper this year.
And they left a couple of great players off the roster. We talked about it off air this morning, and Jason Robertson and Cole Caulfield and Lane Hudson, among others. So it was a good day for the USA. It was a very good day for Jack Hughes, a very good day for the New Jersey Devils. So let's see how they market this moment.
It was funny. Overtime, right? And I'm thinking to myself, there could be the choppers are flying for me because I just watched them in 2010 in overtime lose to Sid the Kid. But maybe for Lou, not the choppers, but just that memory of seeing 80, the flag raising. I mean, that had to bring back some memories today.
It did. And Alex, I know we were talking earlier today about the emotions of the game. If you didn't get emotional at some level, I don't mean you, I mean the general you, if you're an American, and I don't mean you got to start bawling or anything like that. I'm not saying that. Just an emotional feeling when during the game, and then when they got the medals, and then when they raised the flag and played the anthem, then you just don't have no blood in your veins, my friends. But yeah, that was emotion. That was an emotional time for sure. And again, guys, in the second period, Canada had control to play. That 5-on-3, which the U.S. killed brilliantly, but it still gave Canada the momentum, and they were still pushing. And as Eddie Olczyk said on telecast, their defensemen were were jumping into the play shift after shift. And I really think that's why Quinn Hughes today wasn't as dominant as he was in other games, because Canada was pushing it offensively. They always had the puck. And it became a grinding game.
And Jack Hughes actually had a couple busted teeth, but he also had that high sticking, and he overcame that and scored the game winner. And Ryan and I were watching it together. I mean, Ryan, what a moment to watch! We could have been anywhere, a bar or whatever, but to be right where we were was just perfect.
No, literally anywhere. I mean, whether it was Borelli's, elsewhere in the city, or heck, even at 111 Broadway of all places where we were catching the game this morning. I mean, the emotion was just still so palpable either way. And seeing that high sticking from Hughes, I thought for sure if the U.S. lost right then and there, that would probably single-handedly be the moment that the Jersey fans would turn on him. But yet that just hasn't been the case. I mean, he lived long enough here to become the hero. And that's exactly what people are going to be saying for the rest of eternity. Jack Hughes, American hero.
There you go. And for both of you, I have to say, Brock Nelson, Islander guy. I know he's with the Avalanche now, but he's an Islander.
He's still an Islander at heart.
An Islander won with the other New York teams today. That's how I look at it.
Well, Brock Nelson is going to has a chance to pull a Ken Morrow, winning the gold medal and the Stanley Cup, because they will be favored when the season ends to win the Stanley Cup. They may not win it, but the Colorado Avalanche will be the favorites going into the Stanley Cup playoffs. I'm happy for him. He had a very good tournament. Quinn Hughes had a great tournament. Hellebuck had a great tournament. Dylan Larkin had a great tournament. Jack Hughes had a great tournament. Again, America's right up there with the superpowers, with Sweden. Russia wasn't there, but they're right up there with them, with Canada. And that's good. That's good for hockey.
Lou and I were talking about the medal count yesterday, Ryan, and I said to myself after watching this, I don't care about the medal count. This is the medal. This is the medal we all wanted from the very beginning of the tournament. And I would say, even after the Four Nations Cup, we all had our eyes on, okay, now we got to just get the gold next year. And here we are celebrating a gold medal. It's just so surreal to say. It's surreal to see it in person. Like this is.
No, it really is, especially with the devastating loss in the Four Nations right in the rearview mirror. And I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth here, Alex. This was the matchup everybody was so looking forward to, because everybody knew this was going to be the heavyweight battle come 2026. And here we are, U.S. men's hockey taking home the gold, U.S. women's hockey also taking home the gold. Clean sweep overall in the hockey stage. And yeah, the U.S. may not have ended the Olympics with the most medals, but I believe when I checked this morning, they were number 2 behind, I believe, Norway.
And they also have the most gold medals, I believe, in the Winter Olympics. Is that right, Lou? They have the most gold medals they've won.
It was the most gold that they ever won this year. Was the most that they ever won in the Winter Olympics.
So we're all going to go into the skiing competition, because I saw how tough that is. We should all do that in 2020, 2030, I guess. Why not?
Yeah, why the heck not at this point? And I love how you brought up Nelly too. Because the Team USA picture, and I want to point this out, the Team USA picture after the medal ceremony, who was Brock Nelson hugging, you might ask, in that team picture? Well, none other than Kimber Auerbach, Senior VP of Communications for the Islanders. I just want to give a shout out to him as a former colleague of his, ran into him a couple times at UBS Arena, and he's a great guy to get to know. So to see him get to soak in all the glory as part of the communications team for Team USA in Milan, I mean, you cannot get more Islanders than that, even if a current Islander didn't win a gold medal. But, Brock Nelson, still an Islander at heart. And Kimber Auerbach has the gold medal. So how about that?
All right, well, I got to tell you both something, and maybe all listeners will be interested to know this. If you want to see Jack Hughes back in America, his first game's Wednesday night, at least Newark is Wednesday night. And I think it's against the Penguins, which I find interesting. But no, it's going to be Wednesday night. And I don't know, I might try and go through my tick pick, because, look, you get to see the gold medal hero in person. You got to do it before the end of the year, right, guys?
And I'm sure the Devils will do some kind of on-ice presentation with Jack Hughes on Wednesday night. I know they've done it in the past when Brodeur won a He won the gold medal in 2002 against the United States. So I'm sure something like that might occur. Um, there were so many turns and twists and turns in this game today. When I thought they were done, and I really thought they used penalty at the end. I says they're going to score. Canada's going to score here, and they're going to end it.
And let me tell you, I mean, look, the two goaltenders played a hell of a tournament. And Bennington, and as Ryan pointed out, Alfair, not a good regular season for him. It's been a rough swing since he actually won the cup a few years ago. And then Hellebuck, the guy gets criticized for his postseason play last year for Winnipeg, wins the gold. The international stage turns these guys up. I think that's what it is.
No, it's just so funny how that works out, too. I mean, exactly what I was telling you, Alex. For Binnington, I believe, was probably a bottom 3 goalie in terms of his regular season stats in the NHL right now. But what's so funny about this man, and I guess this is the reason why he's still the starter for the Blues, even with all his struggles, is that when the games actually matter, the dude turns into Martin Brodeur. And yes, I know there's a bit of a Blues connection. Marty Brodeur did play for the Blues for, I believe, the last season of his career. So you may have that connection going. But no, he still shows up when it matters the most. He's still a Stanley Cup winning goalie. Now, an Olympic gold medal winner. So, you got that going for you. And Hellebuck, I mean, still one of the most dominant netminders in the league right now. And again, you could say what you want about his postseason struggles and all that, but he shows up when it matters the most. And even with the Jets' struggles this year after coming off the President's Trophy in 25, I mean, if he can get back to the world's, well, I shouldn't say the world because he was just on the world's biggest stage, but on the NHL's biggest stage, if he can get back to that, then now his Olympic form is something I would love to see because he, I would argue, single-handedly carried the Americans to the win that day. Being able to stop all those Canadian opportunities on the 5-on-3, then the 5-on-4. I mean, you don't really get that from most other netminders.
And like Hellebuck was like,
guys, how about the save on Tays 2 minutes into the third period?
Where he had the backhand.
Where he used the paddle, the top of the stick to make the save.
When I was a kid, I was playing goalie, and it was adaptive, so it was a Nerf, like a wiffle ball. But still, I was sliding around back in net, like I was making, and I'm like, this is what he's doing right now. Like he's sliding around that net, making all these incredible saves. And Kenny Albert and Eddie Olczyk, great job, but Kenny made a good point. He now goes back to Canada and has to
that's right
to win it for America. So same with your guy who you were talking about a lot this last couple of days, Austin Matthews. Let's go to him. I know last night you were saying how much of a performance I need out of him. His name wasn't called up a lot, but what did you think today?
Actually, I know it was a tight checking game. I know that opportunities were going to be scarce for the big guys, even though there were a lot of opportunities in this game. I really wanted them to take over. And as I said to you yesterday on the podcast, Austin Matthews is going to be looked on in both sides of the border. He plays for the most popular team in Canada, Toronto Maple Leafs, that are on this incredible 50-year-plus drought. And they're going to say, where was he today? Yes, statistically, he'll look good, but he wasn't dominant. He wasn't dominant like a 19-year-old Macklin Celebrini, who had a dominant tournament. Guys, what do you think of Celebrini? The kid's in his second year in the league. He's 19. How many opportunities did he have today? Right. I mean, his firepower.
Well, there was an open puck, and we were like frustrated because at one point they were just giving the puck up in the neutral zone. And it's like, what are we doing? Well, Celebrini took it down the ice. Hellebuck saved him, but you could just tell that kid was hungry, and he has been on a tournament. And then, as Ryan said, when Schaefer gets on this team, USA
which will be in 4 years.
USA may have a shot. We'll have to see about that.
Him and Celebrini on the same team. Oh, yeah, especially with their advanced development that they're going to have in the next few years. I wish anybody the best of luck trying to get through that.
Right.
And, that you also got to give credit to the U.S. for capitalizing on this window, too, before, you get all these younger prodigies like Schaefer. I mean, even Celebrini to an extent, even with the tournament that he had, and with his success in the Olympics at only 19, you can only imagine what he's going to do the next time that he's on the world's biggest stage for Team Canada.
Yeah,
the opportunities are limitless.
Unlimited. The San Jose Sharks are in good shape. That's for sure. They're
very good shape.
They're in very good
Especially
shape.
if he's captaining the ship.
One thing that was worrying me in the second period and in the early part of the third, the United States was taking way too many icings. They just got the puck and they were icing the puck, which actually Quinn Hughes actually iced the puck when he didn't have to, and Horvat won the draw and they scored.
I mentioned that. I said, look at that, another icing. It felt like they were
way too many icings there, and you can only get away with it for so long before it bites you in the butt. And that cost them a goal, but they got through it. Let
me ask you about this question. Why does it feel like Olympic play is just faster? Like I've noticed this in the other Olympics too, but in the Olympics years. But this year it felt really like a fast game. I said to Ryan, it's almost a 3-hour game. These regular hockey games ended like 3.5 hours because of all the commercials. This one felt fast. Maybe because no commercials. I don't know.
Well, and it is because there's less TV timeouts. The Olympic hockey is done quicker. But the game was fast-paced on the ice. I mean, and we talked about it again yesterday. What we said, this is the greatest. This is the greatest time in the history of the National Hockey League. And I've been watching hockey for over 60 years. The skill level of these guys, from the goaltenders on out, are just amazing. This is not to disparage guys when I started watching hockey in the 60s, but they did not have the skill level that these guys have today. This is the one sport that I will never say, boy, I wish it was the good old days, like, say, the NBA or Major League Baseball.
Oh, yeah.
Not in the National Hockey League. And I really think it's because of the rise of international hockey. You go back, and this is way before your guys' time, the Summit Series in 72, and then all the Canada Cups opened up the world to all these brilliant players who now play in the highest level in the world, National Hockey League. It's tremendous. It really is.
It is fun. Well, now the question is, where do we go from here? I'm imagining they're going to throw some kind of parade in New York for both these teams. At least they should. But maybe they'll wait till after the season because now they all got to go back to competition. So maybe in the summer we'll see it.
Yeah, you might see it after the season. They might do something along those lines. I'm sure President Trump was very happy these last 3 or 4 days.
Oh, well, did you see they saw the American Eagle smashing down the Canadian goose in the ice? It was kind of funny the way they did it.
I did not.
Yeah, after Trudeau's tweet.
I did not see that.
No, that was pretty funny to see. This coming after former Prime Minister Trudeau making a tweet about Americans not being able to take Canadians' game from them, and then, sure enough, the Americans just going on to win it overtime. I mean, regardless of how you feel about it politically, you just gotta love the irony about it. You really do.
Well, and I want to mention that point because overall in the Olympics, whenever an American did win gold, there did not badmouth anything about this country. It was really one of those rare things because some of these idiots, when they get a gold medal or something, they do bash the country, which I don't understand, on foreign soil. At least these athletes this year didn't do that. They were actually very, I felt American pride more than other years sometimes. Would you say that, Lou, is accurate?
Well, just listen to the Jack Hughes interview with Kristen Tappen. I mean, that's American patriotism for an athlete at its best. The poor guy couldn't even talk straight because he had his teeth knocked out. He was still bleeding, but he still said how much he loved to be part of that team, how much he loved to be an American. We did it for our country, and that was quite an interview by the young kid. And I'm proud to be. I'm always proud to be an American.
Exactly.
There's nothing quite better than being able to represent this country on the world's biggest stage. And I know sometimes, and you see it with some of these athletes, that translation gets pretty easily lost and they're bashing their own country. In other words, just biting the hand that feeds them. But, with U.S. men's hockey in particular, you don't really get that. And
no,
I guess a lot of it probably has to do with the overall history of the program too, how much significance they played in the history of the country, even if it's been a little more recent. And I'm sure it can't be ignored too, the fact that this took place 46 years to the day of the Miracle on Ice in 1980. And even a few months back, reading Ken Morrow's memoir and talking about his experiences in Lake Placid and what it truly meant to be not just a part of that 1980 Miracle on Ice team, but also really to be forever a part of a history and jumping right back from the Olympics right into the NHL right after that. And I'm just going to put
2
it out
days
there.
rest, it feels like
The
2 or
Islanders
3
won the
days
cup
rest
that year, so.
And this year they're doing it on 2 or 3 days rest, which I find pretty remarkable. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
A couple of things. Now that we have the Olympic Games behind us, and it's almost hard to believe we have to go back to NHL regular season so quickly. But how badly injured is Sidney Crosby? That affects the Islanders, because the Islanders and the Pens are right there for second and third place in the Metropolitan Division. How bad is Sidney Crosby? Is his knee really that bad? Is he going to be back in a week? Is he going to miss 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 days? He's 38 years old, and he's had another very good year. Remember, before the season began, they said that the Penguins were going to be in a Gavin McKenna sweepstake for number 1 overall in the draft, and they're going to trade. They might trade Crosby at the deadline. And they've had a good year, and I just wonder how badly injured he really is. That'll have effect on the playoff race.
Yeah, and then, especially, of course, too, with how a lot of these hockey injuries in this day and age aren't really defined. I mean, unless you cannot physically walk, it's a lower body injury. That's really about it. So nobody's really going to know, at least until the Pens are done in the playoff picture, as to how bad Sidney Crosby's knee is. But, if you're a Pittsburgh fan right now, I mean, you definitely got to be hoping for the best as far as Crosby's knee. I mean, yes, he might still be considered a superstar even at his advanced age. And he's far and away one of the reasons the Pens are even here in the first
Absolutely.
place. So to lose him when the stakes are going to matter all the more, I mean, it's going to be crucial. And then you got to wonder whether or not the Pens still go all in on a piece to replace Crosby's production if he's going to be out long term.
Yeah, no, we don't know. That's just the thing. I actually expected to see him today, but so him not playing, he must be hurt pretty badly.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Even being in full uniform for the medal ceremony, you could tell he wanted to be on the ice that bad.
And
no doubt.
And by the way, I have to say, picking up the slack big time. Not only Celebrini, but I talk about him a lot. Connor McDavid. He actually had a lot of history this Olympics that people now with the gold medal for the U.S. don't really talk about. But he had a pretty record-breaking Olympics, Lou.
He's the best player in the world. He's the fastest player in the world. He's the best passing player in the world. He had every time he had the puck in the U.S. zone, I was terrified, especially when they had him on the line with McKinnon and Macklin Celebrini. Can you imagine if they were all on one team for 82 games?
Well, it'll be over for everybody else.
It would have been over. No, I thought he was great. You could see the disappointment on his face when they showed him sitting on the bench and when they showed him when he received his silver medal. And, the old joke is you never want the silver medal. You want the gold. But when you're playing in the bronze medal game, you'll kill to win the bronze medal. It's really a strange thing with the gold, silver, and bronze situation. Canada doesn't play for silver. Canada plays for gold, and disappointed you can't win every year. As Quinn, you said, if this would have been a great best of 7 series. I don't know how many guys would still been standing after a 7-game series because they're putting their life on the line. The Americans in that second period when they were being dominated by Canada, just getting their sticks in the way, blocking shots, just heroic. It really was.
And if you thought the spirit of '80 wasn't alive, I mean, Jim Craig was posting on Instagram all the time the last couple of days. Mike Eruzione was there, by the way. Eruzione, right here.
Of course.
There it is, Alex.
He was in attendance. So I felt like that spirit of '80 was there today.
No doubt.
This team on.
And
No question.
I know we talked about this, Alex, on yesterday's podcast, but I got to say it again. The NBC broadcast crew throughout these games, no matter who was doing them, was great. Tirico was the host today. As we said, Mike Tirico can do anything. He could do football. He could do basketball. He's done some hockey. He's done golf. He's done horse racing. He's so talented. He could do anything. And he made one little mistake today. He said 46 years ago they won the gold medal, but it was really they beat the Soviet Union 46 years ago today, and it was February 24th when they beat Finland to win the gold medal. But that's just nitpicking. Tirico's brilliant. Kenny Albert's brilliant.
And by the way, every social media outlet has seemingly confused that was just a game to get to the gold medal.
Everybody thinks when we beat the Soviet Union, we won the gold medal, and we didn't. And if we had lost that day, because it was a different format, based on other results, the United States could not. There was a chance they would have not even won the bronze medal. But that 46 years ago on this coming Tuesday.
Amazing. Well, so here we are. It's exciting stuff. Now, I was going to say, going into the NHL, I mean, how long of a transition is it going to take? I think these guys are going to have slow legs for the first couple of games back, right?
I wouldn't be surprised, and I don't know, Ryan, if you agree with me or not, if some of the guys who played for the United States and Canada may not play in the first game back on Wednesday and Thursday night.
100%. And, I mean, you look at Bo Horvat, good example. Starting back up his NHL slate Thursday in Montreal. I'm not expecting to see him play. And I feel like you could really say the same for Jack Hughes once he returns to Jersey on Wednesday night, as you were alluding to earlier, Alex. Like, the jet lag is still going to hit them pretty fairly hard. No question about that. And, you're going to need time to overcome that, especially with a lot of these guys hopping right back into playoff pushes. I know a lot of these NHL front offices are going to want to play it just super, super safe. So I'm not at all going to be surprised if it takes them perhaps a game or two to get back into full action. But, from a player health perspective, the last thing you want to do is just throw them right back into the fire right away. I mean, that would just be worst case, especially for a team on the push.
Yeah.
The Canadian Olympic team and the delegation and the U.S. Olympic team and delegation were both flying into New York City, and then they were going to scatter to their eventual teams' sites. But because of the blizzard that has started as we speak, they're going to fly into Miami, both the Canadian and the U.S. team tomorrow. They're flying into Miami, and then they're going to scatter. But I'm going to tell you, the Rangers, Islanders, and Devils guys who are on the Canadian and American teams are not going to be able to fly in tomorrow night from Miami. So
good luck trying to get back.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think you'll see some. Connor Hellebuck will not be in the nets for the Winnipeg Jets that first game. I would be shocked.
You think he's going to get congratulations from the crowd? I mean, he beat Canada, so it'll be interesting to see how people.
Well, again, as I told you, yes, they want to win the gold medal. We saw it today, but 3 months from now, they're going to want to win the Stanley Cup. And I know Winnipeg went from President's Trophy to they need a miracle to get into the playoffs. They're really going to have to get hot. Same thing with the defending champion Florida Panthers. By the way, I still, even though Matthew Chuck had a good tournament, I still think he's hurt from last year's Four Nations.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I have a question for both of you, because this win is beyond just the hockey ice. I mean, this is like a unifying moment. A time where we need unity in this country. So does it last? Or are we all going to be hating each other tomorrow? Like, how long do you think it's going to carry over for a while?
I wish I could say it would carry over for a long time, but
because in 80, I'm sure it carried over for a long time.
Well, yeah, I mean, 80, you had the hostage situation. It was, the Cold War was still really going on. It was, it's going to go on for another 10 years. So, yeah, unfortunately, I don't know if it's going to stick like 1980. I hope it does.
Because you also got to take into account, too, the 1980 team. I mean, that was more of a miracle team, if anything, compared to 2026. 1980, yeah, you had guys that made the show, but had any of them really played in NHL action before? No, not really. I mean, from a lot of them, this was their first time being on such a bright stage. I mean, say you look at a guy like Ken Morrow, went on to play in 4 straight Stanley Cups, but before that, 1980 Olympics, this was his big exposure. And these guys going up against a bunch of grown men Soviets, some of the best hockey players in the world at that point. I mean, that's more of a miracle team, if anything. And Lou and Alex, I know, and I'm sure you two can agree with this as well, because we were just talking about it on the phone after the game today. But that 2026, yeah, well, the U.S. still technically an underdog. A miracle team, I'm not
even close.
Probably not, just because you had NHLers involved.
Yep. Well, the main slogan I'm seeing
now
is this was no miracle, is what I'm hearing USA Hockey say.
No, this was no miracle. America is now a hockey power. It is. It's
and
America is a hockey
sport
power.
Because let's be honest, this sport amongst the other three has not been getting I mean, it's popular, but it's not up there right now. Maybe
it doesn't, and it's mostly because the way the media how they talk about the various sports. But I mean, hockey is. If this game was at 3:00 like it was in 2010, there would have been over 40 million people viewing this game. It would have been an NFL number.
Yeah,
there was 27.7 in 2010, and hockey has grown so much in the last 16 years in the United States.
And as we all know here in the Tri-State, we're hungry for good hockey. I mean, it's been a little bit. And so to finally see this and actually be excited for every shift. I mean, I was rooting on every shift today. It wasn't just one moment. It was like you were on the edge of your seat for every moment of this game, I felt.
You really were. You're watching line changes. You're watching everything. Yes, America did get lucky today in the second period when the two NHL officials, referees, and the one linesman, Scott Cherry, they swallowed their whistle when America had 7 men on the ice for about 5 seconds. And Jack Hughes did touch the puck going off the ice, which should have definitely triggered a 2-minute penalty. But, that's the way it goes.
That's hockey. So
it happens.
That's sports, really. So here we are. Gold medals and I don't know. I guess for me, I'm looking forward to the baseball classic. I know Lou hates this, but that's a good next American thing.
Let's just leave it to hockey today. And celebrate the third gold medal for U.S. men's hockey.
Yeah, because if I have to think of the last time my team was involved in the World Baseball Classic, I mean.
Well, let me ask you about this. Do you think these teams should throw individual parades for these guys? I mean, especially in America. I mean, I feel like you should do a little thing around Newark just for Jack Hughes.
Well, like I said, I don't know if they have the timeline to do that, but they're going to. I would be shocked if they don't do some kind of a brief on-ice ceremony. I mean, obviously for Jack Hughes, he has scored the golden goal. He has done what Sidney Crosby did in 2010, the golden goal. Great call by Kenny. Of course, he's spectacular.
And I really thought him and Eddie were going to start crying. I have to.
Me too. I did. I thought they were. Game. He did.
Louis, I lost you.
Okay.
Ryan, are you with me?
Oh, I'm still with you.
All right. Well, while Louis getting back there, no, I thought we were watching it. I thought he was going to start crying out of nowhere. I mean,
no, yeah, we were both saying the same thing. At 111 Broadway, and even I was saying too, and you could back me up on this, Alex. Eddie, if you want to cry, I don't blame you one bit. I mean, sure. You're an American brother one way or another. I mean, you're probably just as happy as everybody else celebrating this win, even if you're calling the game. Can't hurt to show some emotion if that's what you want to do either way. And I'm sure he's just super proud of what.
Absolutely. And we're linked by sport.
Even Kenny. I thought he was going to show a lot of emotion too. And especially seeing Johnny Gaudreau's jersey in the celebration and him getting celebrated by the whole team. It's like you wanted me to cry at that point. And seeing his 2 kids on the ice as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's times like this, especially that, I especially miss Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau and what could have been if he was still with us.
Ryan, remember, just before he signed with Columbus, everybody thought that day he was going to Lou Lamoriello had him bagged, signed, sealed, and delivered to the Islanders. And at the 11th hour, the Blue Jackets swooped in and got him.
Yeah, I still remember that so vividly, Lou. I was convinced he was an Islander right then and there, wanting to be closer to his family in Pennsylvania. I mean, I thought even if the Islanders didn't get him, he'd be a Flyer for sure. And I mean, all they had to do was just not half-ass it, and they would have had his services right then and there. And I actually still remember where I was that day, Lou. I was actually calling a Long Island Ducks game, Fairfield Properties ballpark, and we had just gone to a commercial break on WRHU where we carried all the Ducks broadcasts. I believe we were going to the top of the second inning, and that was when I got the notification that he signed with Columbus. And we maybe had
came out of nowhere
before we came back, and to try to hide my disappointment there, it was a bit of an ask, but it wasn't a huge ask, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's a whole nother can of worms, though. What the Islanders would have looked like right now had this happened to them, would they have almost made the playoffs in a similar way to the Blue Jackets?
Right.
Yeah. No. Who knows?
All right. Well, I want to put this in perspective because in the last year alone, I think it was either prior to Four Nations or after. Ovechkin breaks the scoring record, the goals record, and then that alone was thousands of dollars to get into the game that day in Long Island. And then you have the Four Nations. Now this, I mean, if you're a hockey fan, I know we have listeners, Louis, that are hockey fans, you got to be pretty positive on the upswing. And as Eddie Olczyk said, this will inspire generations of other kids to play the game. It's going.
I hope so. And remember, in 2 years, the NHL is bringing back the World Cup of Hockey, and they're going to do it in the middle of the season, like in February, not in September like they did in the past. They're going to do it in the middle of the season, which will have much more interest for the hockey fan. You just hope your guy doesn't get hurt. Like we talked yesterday, Kevin Fiala of the Kings, he's out for the year. The Kings are only a couple points out of a playoff spot. Fiala is their second leading scorer. They never had a chance to pair him with Terry Panarin, who they just got. Do they make another trade? The trade deadline's here March 6th. Yep. So once we get back into National Hockey League on Wednesday night, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be going on besides the games. So I think the Islanders are going to make a trade. I think they're going to make a trade.
I want to absolutely see that. I mean, if anything, Palmieri being out for the year, if you really want to make that playoff push, if you're Matthew Darche, you definitely try to add another scorer into the mix for sure. And yes, getting Carson Soucy, getting Andre Palat, also in the Olympics, by the way. Those two moves were both a very good start. Soucy, of course, scoring in his homecoming at Madison Square Garden and putting the Isles up at that point. And Palat, he's also had a couple decent games with the Isles too, where he's looked like the guy that they brought in solely to have that championship veteran experience to the team. But you don't really have somebody with that scoring presence that a guy like a healthy Kyle Palmieri could have provided you. So if I'm Matthew Darche and if I'm assessing my team's situation before March 6th, I'm definitely looking at all my options and seeing, okay, what scorers are available out there that would be easy to trade for. And I'm sure he's going to trade for somebody who's young and controllable. Like, I know Steven Stamkos has been a frequent name among the Isles rumor mill.
Yes, it has.
I just don't see it happening, though, because
neither do I.
A big cap hit. Isles are almost up to the cap. They'd have to be really, really creative to even try to get him in the first place. And, I mean, he'd be the last kind of player that I would expect Matthew Darche to go get for a team that just won the draft lottery this past year.
Right.
But, Ryan, he's exactly what the Islanders need, especially on the power play where 100%. They have so much trouble.
100%. And, I mean, if anything, I'm sure even with that vision, he's still target number one for them right now. Whether or not they'd actually get him, though, I'd have to see it to believe it.
Yeah, me too. I would say it's a long shot.
And for the Islanders, I mean, Ryan and I were at that game on the 31st, one of the last games before the Olympics, and they had a frustrating loss against Nashville. I mean, they got to tighten up a little bit here as I do think they're a playoff contender, no doubt about it. So
yeah, they should be in it for the rest of the year.
now,
I don't
Lou,
know if they're going to make it, but
you were an executive in the NBA. I mean, with the Nets and all that, and actually in the sales department and all that. If you're the NHL right now, you have to market this, don't you? I mean, your Team USA just won. The NHL cannot let this go. They have to market this somehow.
without a doubt, they have to market it. You have these are rare opportunities, and if you don't grab the bull by the horns and market it in so many different ways, you have so many different platforms to market it. Even since I've been out of the business, there's so many more opportunities and platforms to market. You got to do it. You really do. Have Jack Hughes do, hey, Jack Hughes just won the gold medal. Where you going, Jack? I'm going to Disney World. I'm going to Newark Airport. I'm going somewhere. Just,
going to Canes. Canes partners with all these people, but well, we'll have to see.
Do that all the time, yeah.
I'm sure Woodbridge Brewing will be doing something with him at some point. So.
Well, that would be a spot. That would be a start. That would be a start.
That would be awesome. A very smart idea for sure. But then also with so many new so many markets popping up too that in the past maybe we didn't necessarily think would be hockey markets or anything like that. I'm looking right at Austin Matthews here. Kid was Arizona born, and now Arizona, of course, without an NHL team after the Coyotes packed their bags for Utah. And I know the stereotype there has been, Arizona's a little too warm. It's not a hockey market or anything like that. But you've had good NHL players come out of there. And
I've heard there's talk that they might try and get a team back in there, I think. So
100%. Don't be surprised if you see the NHL try to get back into that Arizona market again, marketing a guy like Austin Matthews, a man who captained the United States to the gold medal, a local boy from Arizona at that. Don't be surprised if they try to market that.
And how about in Long Island?
Over there.
Charlie McAvoy, out there in Long Island. I mean, wow. So
and Gary Bettman, Commissioner Bettman, didn't really want to leave Phoenix. They just didn't have the arena. He believes in the Phoenix market if they had a good arena. So we'll see what happens down the road.
I mean, maybe if they can get a stable owner in there, perhaps, then
I hope this inspires people. Could be possible,
but they got to market it accordingly. And
I hope this inspires people, by the way, because USA Hockey does a great job of letting you know when the 12 and ups are going or all these World Juniors are happening too. I mean, I hope people follow those kids too, because they're going to be the next man up on these teams, if you will. So
they're the kids looking up to this current group that just took home the gold medal. I mean,
and even in juniors, they've been winning a lot too. So, right, Louis? I think you've been following that too.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you know what? You talk about the young players coming up. We know more about young players now than we did even 10 years ago. Friday night, Gavin McKenna, the probable number 1 or 2 guy who will be picked in this year's NHL draft, plays for Penn State, had 8 points in the game. So we now look at college hockey more so than we did in the past. And hey,
well, we do up here because Quinnipiac always is a force in college hockey.
They're always a force. Yes, that is their best sport.
Yeah,
hockey at Quinnipiac, and hockey's cool in America again.
Yeah, it's cool in Happy Valley too. I mean, Gavin McKenna putting that program really on the map, and especially with all the headlines that he's faced over the past month and change.
I know. There was a kid that went to Boston College.
Punching a guy after that outdoor game against Michigan State.
Yes.
And then coming back with an 8-point game like nothing happened. I mean, that was
stuff that'll put a program Penn State. I don't know where that affinity comes from, but Ryan loves Penn State, so that's up his alley. So.
Yeah, big Happy Valley guy. I've got family that goes to Penn State, and that's pretty much all we've been talking about because the football program, there really hasn't been a lot that exciting to talk about. All the exciting stuff has been on the ice in the.
And then there's a kid that went to Boston College. There was a kid that went to Boston College. A lot of his, or Boston University, one of them playing in the NHL right now. I'm forgetting who it was, but he had a big fan following too from his college days. So.
Ryan, I think Penn State football is going to turn around. I think Coach Campbell was the right pick.
I hope so. And I mean, bringing in Rocco Beck from the transfer portal. I mean, I've got a lot of faith in him.
Son of Anthony Beck.
Yeah, there you go. Son of the former Jet tight end, and he's still in their radio booth right now. So
Yep.
I've got a lot of faith there. Although, to talk about Penn State football for just a quick second here, I do think letting Grunkemeyer go through the transfer portal, letting him leave for James Franklin's new crew in Virginia Tech, I think that could be a mistake, perhaps, depending on how Grunkemeyer performs at VT. I've talked about it on my own podcast, and I was just a little perplexed at why they let him go, especially with
I
3
thought he
more
did a
years
good
left
job,
of
Ryan,
eligibility,
after
but
the injury to Alar.
you just got to hope that just doesn't
but by that point, it was a rough season for Penn State the rest of the way. All right, one more thing, because I'm watching the highlights on the NHL Network. The other thing I was waiting for in this game, which we had last time, as you guys remember, was like an all-out 8-minute fight between as the puck dropped. We didn't get that this time, but the usual suspects for Canada causing a mayhem: Marchand, Wilson. I mean, I was surprised it wasn't as physical. I thought it was going to be a little more fighting going on today.
Well, remember, you drop your gloves in Olympic hockey, you're out of the game. Fighting is not allowed in Olympic hockey. That was the big difference between Four Nations and Olympic hockey. The other big thing is for overtime, Four Nations had 5-on-5. This is 3-on-3. I thought Tom Wilson, and I know he stepped over the line over the years. He's a tremendous hockey player. I would walk on broken glass if he could play for the New York Islanders.
Absolutely.
I mean, the guy's a 30-goal scorer. He's tremendous. And Marchand, he's one of those guys, you don't like him when he's not on your team, but when he's on your team, you love him. The guy's a winner. And
exactly.
The Canadians had a lot of winners on their team, and that really worried me in the third period and in overtime. But thank God the United States prevailed.
Especially as the favorites, too, with all the top-heavy talent.
And also, we needed we honestly,
they both won cups.
We needed this because I do feel like the U.S. is not always on the world stage as far as athletics. We used to be, but there's been a change. Maybe this helps put us back on the map as on that world stage of competition. I'd love that to be the case.
As would I. I mean, you see the hoodie right here.
It's beautiful. You guys have you guys. I'm jealous. I'm gonna go online tonight and see which one I want to buy.
And this one, by the way, I did get off your link, Alex.
You did get it off my next link. And I'm going to buy another.
Is there a shameless plug here?
I'm going to put another one because I just had a beautiful gold medal, commemorating the gold medal. So I'm going to put that up there for sale on the Fanatics Creator link shortly. But thanks for reminding me, Lorraine. There you go. My link will drop below. And thanks for being a loyal friend and a customer as well to OneLegUpAlex. What can I tell you?
Hey, everybody, like and subscribe to Alex's podcast network. All right, guys?
Any final thoughts? Because I feel like we're going to be talking about this for days, and it's not going to be a one-day analysis. We'll unpack this even on the next Terminello take this week, because there's more to talk about, I'm sure. But in the initial reaction, any other thoughts before we close today?
I'll go first, Ryan. I mean, the initial reaction is, how do these guys clear their head to play the last 27, 28 games in the NHL, battling for a playoff spot, battling for playoff position? How do they transition back into an NHL rat race? That, to me, that's one of the most interesting things to see as we move forward in the stretch run here.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, it would probably be a much different story if these guys were coming from, say, Salt Lake City or something like that. But they're coming all the way from Milan, 6-hour time difference here on the East Coast. I mean, they got a lot to get used to. But what I'm going to be looking forward to as the NHL resumes on Wednesday, Lou, is, one, how these guys are going to adapt, but also for Team USA, they now know what it takes to win on the biggest stage. So has me wondering, especially with the playoffs creeping up and all that, how can they use that experience to get their own teams to the top of the mountain in the National Hockey League and win Lord Stanley's Cup? I'm curious how that is going to translate to a lot of these teams fighting in these playoff pushes, and these guys gaining newfound experience from winning the gold medal. And I would just love to see that be translated onto the NHL level here.
Oh, I agree. I'm looking forward to it.
Whether it's the Islanders or even another team, that's something I'm looking forward to for sure. Because even outside of my slight Islanders bias, yes, I can truly, truly appreciate when talent is not wasted across the entire league. And that's something that I really, really want to see.
Yeah, no, good point. Absolutely.
Well, my takeaway on the One Leg Up Network is that finally, in my lifetime, in Ryan's lifetime, we do see the U.S. have one leg up in hockey. I miss my dad right now. I know he would have loved this. I miss Larry Brooks, guys. I know he would have loved this. Molly Walker talked about him earlier today. And I want to give a shout out to all those covering it. Bruce Beck, Molly Walker, Kenny Albert on the call, our friend, Eddie Olczyk. I mean, all these guys. And I think about how cool it's going to be for Matt Loughlin to call Jack Hughes now the rest of the season. So a lot of our media people involved with this. And my other message is I do hope, as someone who learned the names of all these guys in hockey at 3 years old, that this inspires generations after to, yes, get involved in hockey. It's a great sport, and it needs to be kept alive for many years to come, and hopefully this helps do it. So that's my final takeaway.
Before we go, one last thing. I got to give the New York Post a lot of credit. In an era where newspapers are closing down, it's not like the sports sections we grew up with, or at least I grew up with. The New York Post sent both of the beat writers, Molly Walker and Ethan Sears, to cover the hockey tournament. And they did a great job. And kudos to the New York Post for doing that, for sending them on site to Milan. That doesn't happen anymore in 2026. So that was a good job by the New York Post. So
and maybe we'll get that. Maybe we'll get Kenny and Brendan Burke on to talk about announcing these games too, because that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it was. It was. So that's my final take.
We had a New York field. We literally had a New York tri-state field this whole Olympics, and I love that feeling. So
you just gotta love it, and with the Post and all that, all their great coverage of the Olympics in Milan. I'd be very remiss. I've talked about this as well. This would not have happened if not for Brooksy, Alex. This would not have happened if not for Brooksy's advocacy to not just have the Post feature Rangers coverage, yes, but he was the main one banging the drum for the Islanders to be covered in the New York Post regularly. And that's exactly why you got Sears covering the team regularly to this day. He does a great job on the Isles beat. And even with Brooksy moving on to the grade above, Molly Walker filling Brooksy's shoes perfectly. So just remember, none of this happens if not for Brooksy's legacy and for what he was able to do at the Post with the Rangers beat.
And how fitting. The man he promoted all the time in his columns. I remember when I was a kid reading it, JT Miller gets a gold, and I'm sure he's thinking about Brooksy as he gets that goal, because, you talk about a proponent of JT Miller, it was Larry Brooks. Like, they're synonymous in that way.
Well, JT Miller has to start playing much better for the New York Rangers. He can't be he was a penalty killer on the United States team. He's got to be a first-line guy with the Rangers, and he's got to start playing better. Maybe not the rest of this year. Who cares? They're not going to make the playoffs. But they still have, 4 or 5 years left on that contract. So he has to play like a top-line center. The thing of getting back to Brooks, and then we're done. Larry Brooks knows these three organizations so well. He covered the dynastic Islanders. He was a Ranger beat writer. He's a hockey columnist. He worked for the Devils for 10, 12 years as their vice president of communications. So there is.
And you had run into him a couple of times.
Oh, right? Well, our offices were right next to each other, and he was a nice guy. And there's no more hockey columnists right now. He was the last one. He was the last of that breed.
Well, Mike Vaccaro might fill those shoes because he seems to be interested in hockey too. But yeah. I'll tell you what, we got to get Molly on to talk about her coverage as well. Maybe I'll email her and say, hey, come on the show with us.
That would be great.
All right, Lou Terminello, Ryan Pagano, instant reaction a few hours later, but instant reaction to this gold medal day. They set the gold standard, as I said yesterday, Louis.
They did. God bless America.
God bless America on the One Leg Up
Indeed. And
Network.
play Freebird.
That's right. Yes. You are right, Ryan.
All right. Alex Garrett, Lou Terminello, Ryan Pagano, Terminello's Take.
Thanks, guys.
A gold medal edition.